Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me again today for another card making video, and this time I'm featuring Timeless Tiles, which is a background stamp. I love background stamps because it is kind of a one-hit wonder, and you kind of can get a card very quickly and easily depending on what kind of technique. I mean, we could just slap it on and stick a sentiment and we're done. But I really like this set. It's a carryover set, and I've been meaning to use it for ages and ages, and I'm going to break it out today to use it with one of my favourite techniques, which is what I kind of thought I would do with it anyway, and that's Emboss Resist. Okay, so this has been heat embossed with clear embossing powder, and then we've inked over the top to make sort of, I've used sort of a rainbow colour here. So I used 4 ink pads to create my rainbow. Okay, so we had Real Red running into Daffodil Delight, and then we had Azure Afternoon and Melon Mambo. So the Azure Afternoon and Melon Mambo have come together, and there is that lovely purple's come out, and then this green is a result of the Daffodil Delight and the Azure Afternoon, sorry, coming together to make that really interesting green, which looks a little like my missing pear pizzazz. So that's what we've ended up with, and you get the nice shine from the embossing too. A couple of little rhinestones. The sentiment has come from Sending Smiles. Okay. And then the lovely black and white gingham ribbon just to sort of bring it all together. Okay, so let's talk you through how I've done this then. As it's a big background stamp. So the Stampin' Up blocks, we've got loads of them in a great big set, and the largest one, the F block, is a mammoth thing, which would be good for the background stamps and that. And I find it a little heavy. Sorry, that's probably really loud. Just going over that with an embossing buddy. Comes in the embossing essentials toolkit. You get the dust buddy. You get this tidy tray, and you get a brush and a pair of tweezers. So yeah, so the F block is enormous and really, really heavy. So if you've got that, great, super duper, we can use that. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to use my Stamparatus plate. It's much thinner, has a bit more flexibility to it, and lighter weight to help hold on to. So that's what I'm using. I stopped short of actually getting out my Stamparatus. That has unfortunately retired. But I still have mine. But like I say, I'm bringing out this plate just because it's just easier for me to hold than the large F block that we carry. So I'm now going over this very, 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 very generously, as you can see, with this clear Versamark ink. This is a sticky ink. It's a pigment ink. It's slower drying. Okay, it's actually marketed as a watermark stamp, stamp pad, but as I say, it is really great for heat embossing. So I'm just going to hover over there. Doesn't really matter too much if it's straight or not, because we're just going to cut it all out, and we're just going to give that a really good rub. Put lots and lots and lots of pressure on it. And again, this slightly thinner, more flexible plate gives you a bit more ability to sort of really press down hard on that stamp, And if you use a soft cloth or something to give yourself something to run around over the top, then that's even better. So I don't know whether that catches very well on camera. You might be able to make it out as I tilt it in and out of the light, but that's on there now with and it's obviously clear ink. So we're just going to bring in some clear embossing powder and sprinkle that over the top. The excess just sort of taps away. And we're just going to catch it into this little tidy tray thing. And you want to tap off that excess, and we now have this, and it's very dull. It's not shiny yet, and it won't be until we heat it. Okay, so this tray allows us to just funnel that back into our pot. You can use a folded piece of paper or something like that, but this is nice and convenient. It can go straight back in the drawer, and that can. And now we're going to heat emboss this using a crafting heat tool. This is not a hairdryer, this is just a tool specifically for the job. Most of them have 2 speeds, but generally we heat emboss using the second setting, the high speed setting. It is really loud, so what will happen is I will mute the video once we get cracking. I'll keep it on screen though, and hopefully you'll be able to see what's happening as I go through, but I don't know whether it will stay in shot or not. And you'll see me heating on top and underneath to melt that powder. Okay, right. Okay, so now we've embossed it, that's all super shiny. So I don't know how much of that you're able to see. It's a bit hard to keep an eye on the camera and heat emboss without burning myself or my paper at the same time. So don't know whether you were able to catch it, but there we are. There's the odd fleck of something in there because you do get sort of little dander and stuff, but I'm not going to worry about that. Obviously it stays quite hot for a couple of minutes, so you just want to leave that to cool. If it has warped a lot, then then, you know, while it's still warm, give it a bit of a twist. But because we're cutting it all down and everything, it's not going to matter too much. But I just wanted to I do have one of these cut, but I'm going to just show you that I actually ended up cutting this into 2 panels. So it's a sort of twofer, if you like. But we could equally cut this in a number of ways if I had something that would, you know. So you can do like a, you know, a 3x3 square. You could do a long skinny panel. A smaller rectangle that I'm going to do, you know, so that there's loads of ways to cut this up and use it in lots of different ways. All right, so I'm just going to use the trimmer, and what I'm going to be aiming to do is the edge of the embossing is going to line it up in just inside the cutting track, so the stamp might not be absolutely straight on the cardstock. So we're just going to line it up and eyeball that, and I can just see the embossing, only just, inside that cutting track, and I'm going to cut that away. So that's going to become our straight edge, if you like. Scrap of cardstock for another thing. So now we can start lining it up, actually with the cutting track, because we know that that top edge is straight now. Okay, but again, you'll see the embossing's just peeking out, and we'll keep going around, lining that up. And cutting away that excess. So that's all nice and cut out, and then I'm just going to slice it in half. So I'm just going to line that up now on the cutting track right there, and slice that in half to get these 2 panels, which are 3x5 squares. Okay. So those are all nice little scraps that we can use for something else. I shall probably use these and make 2 more cards. So that's what we've got. I've also cut out a piece of black cardstock. So this ended up being a really nice measurement, which was then, so this was 4.5 by 2 3/4, which gives a really nice little border around there. For the card. Whoops, I put away the wrong thing. So I'm going to bring in some grid paper to work on. Treat ourselves to a clean sheet. As we're going to do our emboss resist in that rainbow colour. So I'm going to use a different set of colours just because I can. Okay, and I'm going to go for the sort of deeper shades. Okay, so I'm going to go cherry cobbler, crushed curry, blueberry bushel, and berry burst. Okay, and we're going to grab blending brushes. So there's a red one, yellow one, blue one, and our dark pinky purple one. So there are 4 brushes that we're going to use, and as I'm a lefty, let's put those over there. Now you'd think I'd start with the red, but I'm not going to. I'm going to start with the yellow. Okay, so the yellow is actually quite an important colour, because this will not only just form the yellow, it will also form the orange and the green. Okay, so you kind of want to have a sort of think to yourself that if the orange is there and then the yellow is there and then the green is sort of there, we're actually going to cover quite a bit of this panel with the yellow. All right, and I'm just going to lay it on thick. Normally, you know, you go for, you know, take off some excess and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to do that for this this technique. I'm just going to go straight in. We want some nice bold colour, and like I say, this one kind of anchors a few of the other colours, so I'm actually being quite generous with this one, going across sort of these two here, and then into that top one and the fourth one along. So we're going to do that. To lay that down, you might want a bit of scrap just to help you hold things, because the ink sits on top of that embossing, and it won't dry, so you will get ink on you. And there's ink on the back of that brush, which I'm just going to make sure isn't wet before I stick my fingers in it. So cherry cobbler is our darker red. Okay, and again going in full strength, overlapping this yellow to create the orange. Okay, it's going to look a little bit kind of dull to start off with, but the magic will happen later. Blueberry bushel will be next. Now I don't want this to go all the way to the end, because I want to bring in the berry burst to create the purple, but I want to overlap the yellow somewhat to make the green. So we're going to go across this bit. Actually, I do want that to probably fade out towards the bottom. Okay, and so you can add more as you want to intensify any bits of the colour if you want. And then last of all, we're going to pop in our berry burst from the bottom, which will merge into the blue and give us our pink and purple tones. Okay, again, you know, go over it as much as you want to. Okay, so there's our ink, and then the magic bit is when you wipe away all that excess. I've just got to find somewhere for these pads to go. There we go, that'll do. So you want to get a piece of tissue, kitchen towel, something or other, and you want to wipe away that excess ink. And all of a sudden it comes up nice and bright. Now I haven't applied any water to that. You could, especially for the red one. It can stain the embossing quite a bit. But if that was slightly damp, that would come off. But I don't know whether I've actually got any water knocking around that I could use, so we're just going to go with it. But that just has come up really nice and bright. Okay, really nice and bright. So the difference between the two, now in front of me I can see that the green shade is a much deeper shade, and the orange is more of a burnt orange colour. Okay, but you know, choose the inks that you want to use. Okay, and whatever floats your boat. You don't even have to use a rainbow. You could I did think about doing like an ombre style. So I know, let's use Starry Sigh, Orchid Oasis and Tahitian Ties. So let's use Orchid Oasis. I'll take off that ink a little bit. Where did my little scrap go? There it is. So I'm going to pop Orchid Oasis across the middle embossing dark. And then we'll use some Starry Sky. Oops. Yeah, you just want to be careful you don't buckle the edges of your card. Then twizzle that round. And bring in Tahitian Tide. Grab my light blue brush. And bring that in from the bottom. Again, if we use a tissue to wipe away, especially this darker colour, there we go, beautiful bright white embossing coming through on that one. Possibly not as dramatic, but we get this nice ombre look. That's really pretty. It's really pretty. What should we do with this one? The purples are always a good one to go for. Let's do that. Highland Heather. This is fun. This is all a bit going off piste here. Wasn't going to be doing all of these different ones with you, but I've really enjoyed making these, and I hope you will too. I'll just go over that just a little more. And that same brush I can use with Gorgeous Grape. And then at the bottom we can bring in some fresh freesia. In fact, I've got a little brush that's got fresh freesia. On it. Much paler colour, obviously. So we'll put plenty of that on. And we could finish off with some bubble bath. So again, going over the edges of the print. I've got ink brushes and ink pads everywhere. Again, we'll just grab that cloth there and just give that a wipe, brighten up that white embossing. Okay, so you can really have fun creating all sorts of things with this technique. Okay, really, really, really cool. And then of course the world is your oyster in terms of layering all these things together, really. So I don't know, shall we I was going to do the rainbow one, but now we've made the other ones, I'm kind of liking the purple one, to be fair. My purple girls out there who love the purple, there we go. Let's do that, because I know you love it. You know who you are. So I'm going to put plenty of Stampin' Seal on this. That's way more than I would normally use, but that's because the embossing kind of, you know, it warps the card and you want it to stick nicely. So we're going to just add that to this black layer, which, oh god, only just fits this one. Maybe I'll just cut this one just a little bigger, but you know, we'll go with it. You can obviously take your time and make sure your layers all fit, because obviously I cut the other one to match the other one, the rainbow one that I made. So, and I'm just rubbing over the back of that, one to flatten it and one to make sure it's really well stuck. Isn't it pretty? So now of course the big decision is, does it go dark to light or does it go light to dark? I think it's got to go that way, I think. Okay, lovely. I think we can still get away with using our black and white ribbon though, to bring that in, but we could just as easily add some Stampin' Blend across that to tie it in with the project. So I'm cutting a very generous length of this. Stampin' ribbon is endless, well it feels endless anyway. I very rarely get to the end of a roll of Stampin' Up ribbon. So I'm just going to pop some seal across the back there to catch this ribbon on the back. So I'm just going to line that up about there. I've done it the wrong way around. I should have done it that way. That's fine, it's okay. And then we're going to use all of that and tie. Yep, that's right. I wanted to make sure that the ends on this side, see how I've wrapped it, and that's ended up even, right? So what I should have done was wrapped it like that, so that I've got all the ends on this end, because this is the end I want the bow on. I suppose what I could have done was just tied it at the other end, but I don't want it that end, I want it this end. Okay, right, so just gonna do a quick bow here. So you tie your bow with whichever method you like, and they always turn out different. Sometimes you get it right first time, sometimes you don't, and you have to keep faffing with it until it does come right, but it's worthwhile in the end. Okay, right, there we go. And then I'm just going to cut that tail so that it looks even with that one, like so. Just need a white card base to put this onto. So sometimes when I'm in a bit of a craft block, I'll sit here and I'll just pre-cut my card bases and my card layers and just sit for a bit and just use my stuff and hopefully inspiration arrives at some point. So again, we'll whack a load of seal onto the back of this to make sure that that's secure, and try and get it something like in the middle of our card base. That looks okay. Going to secure my ribbon in the middle there with a glue dot, or two actually, just so that it sits flat. Because I want to put my sentiment over this. I want it to sit flat. So just tucking that underneath there. Oops, she says. And that will just help that sit nicely. Still messing about with this ribbon. Doesn't want to tighten. Don't know why, the other one did. Anyway, right, it's kind of there. We could fuss for that with that forever. Just pop my clip back on there. So that's that, and then the last thing is just popping our sentiment on. So just I'm just grabbing a scrap from the scrap bin. I love using up scraps for things like that. And actually I actually used Pebble Path instead of just black. Just thought it would just look a little softer. This little G block to do that. So that's from Sending Smiles. And this is a die from the same, you know, the coordinating set. So I wanted something nice and skinny, you see, just to slot in and not, because I didn't want to then cover up all that beautiful inking, you see. So that's just going to quickly whiz through there. You could obviously, if you don't have those dies and you can find something that's skinny enough, just cut a nice skinny strip of cardstock and do it that way, of course. And I'm going to use mini dimensionals, which are just perfect for this. What are they? About 1/4 of an inch. And then this can just tuck in. It could go off the end if it wanted to. Oh yeah, maybe we'll do that with this one that's misbehaving a little bit. Make sure it's straight. Okay, and then just a bit of bling. I might just go with the little lens. It's really subtle, but you know the recipient will see them when they open that up. And I think that's a really cute card. There's the original with the ombre, not ombre, that's ombre, rainbow. Those were the other two, Starry Sky, Orchid Oasis, Tahitian Tide. This one was Cherry Cobbler, Crushed Curry, Blueberry Bushel, and Berry Burst. Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, Fresh Freesia, and Bubble Bath on this one. Real Red, Daffodil Delight, Azure Afternoon, and Melon Mambo on this one. It was such fun making these, such fun. And really is, the world is your lobster when it comes to colour combos. So have some fun, create these cards. It's a really great set. Really great stamp set for this. So, longer video. Done some really quick ones in the last couple of weeks, but a bit of a longer video, but I've really enjoyed making those. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. Hope you've enjoyed it too. Stay safe, take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye.